if the president suggests that he's just going to keep Chris Wray. He's got nothing to hide. Chris Wray is a fine prosecutor. He's a career guy. His term is due to go until 2027. Just keep him in that job. And the Kash Patel. I mean, these people, the Steve Bannon, they were going to have revenge and retribution, and you'll be sorry because I have a great talk show on radio, and I wrote a book about government gangsters, and watch out for me. It's not going to happen. It's very, very hard to remember when they went after Eric Holder, Fast and Furious, contempt of Congress. What else happened the next day? Nothing. Everybody forgot about it. They embarrassed themselves. They held the first black attorney general in history in contempt of Congress for what? For nothing. And I think that this is all this BS is a talk show nothing. It's going to. I don't think anything's going to come of it. They're going to have their hands full. They got 2 wars. Yeah. They got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, things are going in the right direction for them as they come in. Scottie, I want you to hear the perspective from Geraldo and Ameshia, and then I'm going to come to you for the home team. But, the economy, Ameshia, you see in this reporting now that Republicans think that the economy is better than they thought it was, and that the cost of Thanksgiving dinner is going to be less this year than it was last year. The reality is not necessarily what's being sold during the political season, but when you look at this team, do you believe that there is a legit basis of the kind of existential fears we're hearing coming out of the left?
Well, before this show started, I think there was reporting that came out based on Trump reinstituting his conversations around tariffs specifically aimed at China and Canada. So we'll see how well the economy is doing after those go into effect. But absolutely, I think that people should be believed when they say that they are going to do what they say they're going to do. If you are hearing from Kash Patel that he is going to go after the enemies, I don't think that that's just rhetoric. I think that this is a guy who full-throatedly believes these things. But I also believe that in Donald Trump, he does not want a ton of controversial picks. We saw that Matt Gaetz stepped aside, which I think was the smartest thing in this context. But for the most part, Bondi is going to be somebody who easily gets through a confirmation process. And Kash Patel, he's problematic on multiple levels. So if Donald Trump was to choose him, I think that he would choose him in a deputy role, one that does not require Senate confirmation, rather than one that does. Because at the end of the day, he's trying to get his picks in. Yes, all of his picks are going to be loyalists. The picks of anybody's administration are typically loyalists. But to have loyalists who have also gone out of their way to talk about, going after enemies, when Donald Trump, be it true or false, has said that he's trying to unify the country, you do not unify the country by appointing people who are dead set on, getting bravado from disunifying, from being people who have decidedly wanted to go after and create an enemies list and attack folks, not only in media, but also those who are in respective agencies across the federal government. That is not how you build collaboration. That's not how you build community. And that's not what millions of people voted for when they went to the polls.
You think Biden should pardon Trump?
I think that we're seeing the legal process play out. More and more of these cases are going away, in large part because Trump was reelected and because I think that they do not want to see the political fallout.
Do you think Biden should pardon Trump? Thank you, Geraldo. Ameshia?
I said my answer already. We're watching the court system play out.
That was not an answer to my question. It's a yes-no question.
I already said what I was going to say. It's not going to go any further than that.
You should run for office. So, Scottie, you've heard how these two feel about it. What do you think?
I don't even know where to start between the both of them and the different things they said. First, let me point out, if there was actually legitimate reasons for Donald Trump to be prosecuted the last 4 years, you would not be seeing these cases just be dropped because he was elected into office. They would be built on substantive claims that would have led to his conviction. That never happened. That just shows
the Constitution. It was the Supreme Court.
Once again,
the
though,
Supreme
it just
Court
shows
gave him an exit.
That was state courts. Those were state courts. New York, Georgia, all of those cases. And then you look at the federal cases with Jack Smith. If there was legitimate truth to it, then he should continue his prosecution. But there's not. This is why that accusation of lawfare has been going on for the last few years. That's why Trump said he was just a witch hunt, a target. And you can't look at the events of the last 4 years the various prosecutions and say that Donald Trump was not targeted by this administration's DOJ for two purposes. One, to keep him off the ballot because they were seriously scared they would lose, and two, to keep anybody of any substance from aligning with Donald Trump and helping to fight. They wanted to make sure that he was completely isolated. They failed at both.
What about the cabinet? You like it?
I agree.
I think there's some issues with some of them. I do agree that, that Donald Trump has picked complete loyalists. This is not going to be like 2016. He is not going to just have gatekeepers. He is the gatekeeper. So he wants to make sure he has folks that when he texts them, this is my policy, this is my timeline, that will follow his commands. And I think that's the difference. We're also looking at a president that is only going to be in office for 4 years.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.